Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the 22nd episode of Pariprashna. So, Pariprashna is a unique podcast where we make an attempt to share ancient wisdom for modern people. So, several of you have been messaging me and asking me, how come we have already crossed 20 episodes of Pariprashna, but we have only completed 3 chapters of Bhagavatam? Well, let me clarify that, and for the benefit of everybody, let me state it here. So, the first 18 episodes of Pariprashna, we have discussed the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So, the first scripture we started off was with Bhagavad Gita. And then the 19th episode is where we started discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in the 19th episode, we discussed the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam and Canto 1, Chapter 1, Shloka 1. And in the 20th episode, we discussed the 6 questions of Shaunakadi Rishis. That was basically Chapter 1 of Canto 1. And then in the previous episode, that is the 21st episode, we have discussed chapters 2 and 3, the answers given by Suta Goswami for the 6 questions. So I hope that clarifies for everybody. So in this particular episode, we are going to discuss chapters 4, 5, and 6 of Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Well, already Shaunakadi Rishis presented 6 questions and Suta Goswami wonderfully answered them. But then the series of question and answers is going to continue further. The sages are going to ask 4 more questions. So, what are those questions and what are the answers that are going to be given by Suta Goswami? Let us find out by inquiring from His Grace, Kamala Lochan Prabhu. So, Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhu, the sages are going to ask Suta Goswami 4 more questions. They are going to inquire about the history of Bhagavatam, why, when, where, and what, all about that. And then they are going to inquire about Shukadeva Goswami, the primary speaker of Bhagavatam. And then they're also interested in knowing about Maharaj Parikshit. That is twofold questions. One is they want to know about the birth and activities of Maharaj Parikshit, and also why did he give up everything and retire on the bank of the Ganges. So, Prabhu, before we actually get into the questions itself, what is the value of this Pariprashna, the ongoing question and answers in the life of a devotee? And is there an end where this Pariprashna is going to terminate, or is this something that is going to go on lifelong?
It is the eternal activity of the soul to inquire. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So since it is eternal, it is not going to end. So questions and answers are the subject, are the methodology of teaching in the Vedic science or in Vedic teaching science. The student inquires and the teacher gives an answer. It is a conversation. A conversation means it is lively. You take any subject, even the material subject matters in the Vedic literature, there are also a conversation. Because when you're hearing something, naturally your doubts come in your mind. So when the doubts come in your mind, they should be a person who have already had these doubts and you would have inquired. The answers are there. So all the doubts which may come in anybody's mind in this world, they're all already presented in the scriptures. And those doubts are cleared by the teacher. So when something is in a question answer format, it is very interesting, easily understandable, and very relishing too. Like even the modern textbooks or information in the website, you have FQ, frequently asked questions, FAQs. FAQs. When we were kids, the FAQ term was not very famous. But now FAQ is a very famous term. When they open some website, they want to, there is an institution, they want to raise a scheme. At the end, FAQs are there. So these FAQs frequently ask questions. That is the first thing a person generally reads before he goes to the entire article or whatever maybe. So now people are understanding the importance of questions as people are becoming more and more intelligent. So it is intelligence to ask questions, and the test of intelligence of a person is the quality of the questions what you ask.
Okay.
So depending on the quality of the question, you can judge the person's intelligence. Not only this, when I was a kid in a school, there was a social studies teacher. That person was so boring. Everybody was thinking, oh, where is he come from? Because he used to come and then read the textbook and then tell something. The most boring subject, social studies. It had some history, Baba, Ramayana, and all these things. Somebody planted trees, somebody made roads. This all rhetoric. So now somehow he got transferred to some other place, so he had to go. And a new social studies teacher came. So the new teacher, in the very first day, she just went on asking questions to us. What do you like? What do you feel like? Anything? One whole class went and she only just spoke to us. 10, 15 of us asking questions and we are answering. She's just asking some questions, getting some rapport, some stories, tell her about some life, some experience. The whole 2-3 sessions went in this only. Then we started liking the teacher's class very much because there was no class, there was no textbook. She was not even opening the textbook. Once the relationship was so strong that we loved to be in the class just because she's just talking about life and different things. What do you like? What is it? Which color you like? All crazy things, which are interesting in one sense for children, out of the world talks. It is not my subject. But after 2-3 sessions, she told that, how many of you like this book? I don't like this book. She told, oh, we are so happy. The teacher telling that I don't like this book, and we also, and she's very much in tune with our thought also. But she told that I want you to do something, even if you don't like. She told everybody to write 5 questions from every page of that particular book or every 3 paragraphs of that book. Make questions. You have to write questions and bring. That's all. Oh, that is how everybody got 90 plus.
Oh.
Because everybody read that book, the textbook. And she has not taught anything. Not a single line read. And what happened? Every class, for the whole year, it was only gossip. But everybody scored good marks. Because to make 5 questions per page, you not only have to read it, you have to meditate on it, contemplate on it. She told, don't write any answers, just ask questions only. Write the questions. And every month or so, she would just ask randomly, bring your book, I want to see what questions you have written. That's all. So that's how education in a Vedic system works. That the students would make questions, they would ask questions. Because to ask questions, you need to tax your brains. You have to do a lot of contemplation. And that contemplation leads to realization.
Fantastic, Prabhu. Great start. So, Prabhu, of the 4 questions asked by the Shaunakadi Rishis, I think today in this episode, we'll just touch upon the first question and the answer for that. So, the first question is they wanted to know about the history of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, why is it important to understand the background and the purpose behind the composition of a certain scripture?
Because the scriptures are conscious. They are not another book. Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. Now, appearance of Krishna is Janmashtami celebrated. And also we want to know how Krishna appeared and what is the story behind it. As much as Janmashtami has a significance, the same way the appearance of Bhagavatam also has a significance.
Beautiful.
As much as thousands and lakhs of people are going to Mathura jail because it is birthplace of
Krishna.
Appearance place of Krishna. Now, Krishna and Bhagavatam are not different. The appearance place of Bhagavatam, is it not as good as Krishna's appearance place?
Yes.
So it is as simple as that. To emphasize this point, Bhagavatam is Brahma Samhitam, which has been previously in chapter. The word has been used. Brahma Samhitam. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam. Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi. Nishresaya Lokasya Dhanyam Sustenam Mahat. So these are the words which has been used. It says Brahma Samhita means it is Krishna himself, the Vangmaya Swarup of Krishna. Sri Krishna Parivartana. So the appearance place of Bhagavatam, when it appeared, which place it appeared, that also has the same significance, rather the greater significance. Because the appearance of Krishna, the gravity of the appearance place of Krishna, or its sacredness, is heralded in the Bhagavatam. So if Bhagavatam's appearance place and the time of its appearance, if it is not discussed, then you will not have good value for Krishna's appearance place and time of appearance. So as much as appearance of Krishna, the place of appearance of Krishna, time of appearance of Krishna has a role to play, has significance. Rather, Bhagavatam's place of appearance, the time of appearance, that also has a greater role to play in everybody's life.
Very nice, Prabhu. In fact, I see this as a pattern in your lectures also, whether it is Bhagavad Gita or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I see how in the beginning itself you talk about the background, how it came about, like Govinda Bhashya by Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, how it was challenged in Jaipur, and whether it's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And I see that when we actually understand that and then read the text, read the scripture, it has a different level of impact actually. So, Prabhu, moving further in this particular chapter, it is talked about how Vyasa Maharshi first wrote the Vedas, then he divided them into 4, and then he assigned it to different disciples of his for propagation, disciples, grand disciples, great-grand disciples, and then he also composed Mahabharata. And but however, it is said that he was dissatisfied in spite of doing so much welfare work. So my question here is whether we see success in terms of climbing the success ladder materially or even in spirituality. For example, I have a quote from one of the Hollywood actors, successful ones, Jim Carrey. I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamt of so they can see that it's not the answer. So many people are trying to pursue the success ladder. Many of them don't even get to the top. And people who do get to the top, even them, like Jim Carrey, like many of them like that, are saying, still there is a void. They are not satisfied. And spiritually speaking also, I would like to recollect what you said in the previous episode where you were quoting Srila Prabhupada. He said, Bhakt hai to dukhi kaise, dukhi hai to bhakt kaise. But the fact of the matter is, even many practicing devotees are not completely satisfied. So what can we learn from Vyasadeva's dissatisfaction about the limitations of one's accomplishments, whether materially or spiritually, without Krishna Katha?
This makes the Bhagavatam very special because in spite of Vyasa writing all the Vedic literatures, the 4 Vedas, the Vedas, and Mahabharata, and all the Purana, and also the Brahma Sutras, he was not satisfied. The reason for he not being satisfied is very clear. Answer Vyasa, Narada gives Vyasa in actually the next chapter, the 5th chapter. Directly he says, my dear Vyasa, the cause of dissatisfaction is very simple. You please listen to the cause of your dissatisfaction and everybody's dissatisfaction. Bhavatanudita prayam yasho bhagato malam yenevasana tushketa manye tad darshanam kilam. Bhavata anudita prayam yasho bhagato malam. You are not sufficiently described the glories of Krishna. That is your problem. That is the cause of your problem. So, before he says this, in other words, Narada says that Parascharya Mahabhaga Kujidatmanatmana Paritushyaji Sharira Atma Manaseva. As long as you identify yourself with the body, or you identify yourself with the mind, that is a Sharira Atma, Atma Manasa. Means if you consider your Sharira as Atma, and if you consider Manasa, mind as Atma, as long as you consider the gross body as yourself, or you consider the subtle body as yourself, and think I am the body and I am the mind, how can you be Paritushyeta? How can you be satisfied? Now, how you should identify yourself as? If I am not the body, gross body, neither I am the subtle body. That is what Krishna also starts Bhagavad Gita with. Asochanasosastam pragyavadam subhasate gatasun agatasun sananasosanti pandita. Gatasun means the thing from which the life hair has left. That is the gross body. Agatasun means the thing from which the life hair has not left. That is the subtle body. So as long as this gross body and subtle body you identify yourself with, you will never be satisfied. Same thing here. Sharira Atma Manasa Evava. So if you are not the gross body, and if you are not the subtle body, if you are not this body gross, and if you are not this subtle body, that is the mind, then you are the soul. So if you want you to be satisfied, you should satisfy the soul. What satisfies the soul is Krishna Katha. That's all. If you want satisfying the body and the subtle body, you will never be satisfied. Because it's not you. You are hungry. You feed somebody else's stomach. Then your hunger will be still there. In the same way, if I had to be satisfied, I should know who am I. I am not this body. I am not this mind. So as long as I satisfy my mind and body, I will never be satisfied. Because I am the soul. And what do you think is satisfies the soul? In Atma Suprasidati Bhakti. And what is the Bhakti? Nam Sankirtan Harikatha. Bhagavat. Simple.
Okay. Prabhu, just taking a step back towards the end of the 4th chapter, the entry of Narad Muni is there. The moment when Vyasa Maharshi was dissatisfied, Narad Muni enters. And the way Vyasa Maharshi shows awe and reverence to his spiritual master, the way he receives him, gives an elevated seat, it is said he treated him just like Brahma. So we are also taught or instructed that one should treat one's spiritual master as good as God. So what is the significance of respecting one's guru as good as God?
Because he is a connection. He is your connection to God, to Krishna. So that is the only way you can connect yourself to Krishna. That is your spiritual master, to your spiritual master. That is why it is said, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasadam nagati kutopi. That is why dhyayam stuvans tasya yashas disandhyam vande guru shri charanarvindam. So this verse, Srila Vishwanatha Srila Thakur, he says that if you have mercy of your guru, then Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. You get mercy of Krishna. Yasya prasadat, if you don't have the mercy of your guru, then there is no question of nagati kutopi, there is no gati, there is no alternative. So even Vyasa, he is actually Jagat Traya Guru. When he saw his spiritual master, that is Narada, he saw him as a representative of Brahma. And Brahma is a representative of Krishna himself. So when you are serving and surrendering to the spiritual master, respecting the spiritual master, you are actually respecting the entire parampara. Up to Krishna. So that is why Vyasa showed the etiquette of respecting his spiritual master Narada as good as being that of Brahma.
Very instructive. So, Prabhu, moving forward, at the beginning of 5th chapter, Narad Muni, the way he's talking to Vyasa Maharshi, externally it seems like he's praising him. He's saying that, oh, you have composed all these literature, this and that. But seems like there is an underlying tone of sarcasm there. Similarly, Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita, the moment he assumed the role of a spiritual master, just now you quoted the shloka 2.11, Prajna Vadamscha Bhashase, it seems like he's praising him. But however, there is that sarcastic tone of saying you're only talking like a pandita, but you're not actually one. So, what is the significance of this constructive criticism from the Guru, especially the sarcastic tone that they use, and the special kind of a relationship between a Guru and Shishya?
The Siksha Guru is always very friendly. And the student also has an aspect of friendliness or friendly attitude towards the Guru. So if that friendship is not there, then very difficult for the student to express his heart. If there is a overwhelming alien reverence, then the disciple would think, why I should ask him, trouble him? That thing comes. And the natural flow of expression will be inhibited. On the other hand, if there is no sakya, friendship, then the teacher would also would not be able to express things very frankly and fairly, thinking that if I speak the truth, then that person may feel bad, my disciple may feel bad. So that is why there should be a kind of friendly relationship between the Guru. Of course, there is reverence, but it should not be so overwhelming that it should inhibit the Sakya. So to develop that Sakya, the Guru would tell the disciple, hey, what happened to you? You've gone crazy or what? Don't cry. I am there now, we are there with you, with that mood, like a friend. You have a friend crying, what do? You'd not go and talk to the friend like saying like a mother, Beta, don't cry. If it what is this? It's very awkward. What is required when somebody is crying, when somebody is not, his heart is very heavy, requires a friend. More than a mother and a father. Of course, the mother can play the role, the father can play the role of a friend. So what is the requirement when you are in distress, or who is required for you in distress? Is a friend whom you express yourself. What you require is somebody whom can hear you, not help you.
Yes.
So by just if you are able to relate to a person whom you can express yourself, the trust which you have. So to build that thing, it is generally the nature of a doctor, nature of a teacher to act friendly. I remember one doctor who is one of the favorite doctors, though he's allopathic. Many years back, I had the favor of taking devotees to the hospital when they are sick. That was my favor when I joined. So there was one doctor, many doctors, was a Christian. The moment he comes, he sees one brahmachari who is suffering with pain. Then just joke with him, say, "Kal kya khaya? Huh? You had a feast or what?" Like he would talk. So to reduce the gravity of the situation. And this person is in pain. The brahmachari also sometimes jokes, ISKCON में तो ऐसी बनता है प्रसाद, feast होता है. Like he would tell. So they will make the whole situation light and then develop that relationship. Relationship between spiritual master and disciple, that is the basis of enrichment of knowledge. The relationship is primarily Satya, and secondly, the service, reverence, all these things are there. It's not that just a friend. that friendship. He's not a friend, he's your master. But the friendship attitude is there when there is a question and answer.
Very beautifully put. So, Prabhu, going further, looks like all these spiritual masters are expert doctors. Just now you were talking about doctors. They're very, very expert in doing diagnosis. So, Krishna immediately, in spite of Arjuna sounding so intellectual, giving this PhD thesis kind of a argument, then Krishna indirectly calls him a fool and says, Dehatma Buddhi is your problem. And then here, Narad Muni also, after seemingly glorifying Vyasa, he's pinpointing that there are two defects in Vyasa Maharshi's work until now. So he says that the glorification of the Lord is insufficient, and number two, there is too much emphasis on the four Purusharthas. So how open should we be in opening ourselves, our hearts to the spiritual master? So and give them the permission. Of course, they don't need our permission, but so they also have that liberty to do this diagnosis and also very much open in accepting what diagnosis they provide us.
So one good thing, Arjuna, he told Krishna is, Sarvameta Vratam Manye Madasi Keshava. I accept everything, whatever you are told. Then Madasi Keshava. Sarvameta Vratam Manye. I accept everything. That is the speciality of Arjuna. So why Arjuna was able to tell this thing? Because he had total faith that Krishna is speaking all these things for my benefit. It is for my benefit that he is speaking. So from somebody who has faith, whom you have faith in, you can express yourself. So the first duty of the spiritual master is to invoke or encourage that faith or install that faith in the disciple. So when the faith is disciple, he expresses himself. So once he has a faith, you have all the right to do anything. You beat him, he'll be very happy. They will scold, he'll be very happy. Because that kind of faith and surrender is there.
Okay. Beautiful, Prabhu. Now, going forward, there are some very, very important, amazing shlokas. So, I'll just quote a few of them. So, here is the 10th verse from 5th chapter, Canto 1. Nayadvachaschitra hareryasho jagat pavitram pragranita karhichit tadvayasam tirtamushanti manasa nayatra hamsa niramantu shikshayaha. So, Prabhu, what is the importance of this third line here? Tad vayasam tirtam ushanti manasa. Saintly people consider them as the pilgrimage place for crows. So Narad Muni is talking about all the materialistic literature and calling them a pilgrimage place for crows. So does that mean all the newspapers, magazines, newsletters, and all the novels, fiction and non-fiction and self-development books, biographies, autobiographies, so everything is a pilgrimage place for crows?
Some people may feel bad about it. What to speak of the literatures, what you have spoken, the magazines, the film, it is pilgrimage of crows. Narada is telling Vyasa, what all you have written till now. You understand what all things he has written? The Brahmasutras, the Puranas, the Vedas, the Mahabharata, in spite of they being so great, they're all pilgrimage of crows.
So, Prabhu, your video is not on.
They're all pilgrimage of crows. All the things which have been listed. If that is the case, then what to speak of? These things. What do you mention? So, if you want to know how these are all pilgrimage for crows, you just open the TV, start the TV at 9 o'clock and see the debates. There will be 4 crows this side, 4 crows that side. And a big crow trying to pacify all the 4 crows on this side and catch 4 crows. And nobody wants to hear what the other person is speaking.
Yes.
That is why the word crow has been used. Because the crow is only creature on this planet which doesn't have a language which it can understand.
Oh.
That is why you see two crows. I don't know whether you observed it or not. In our village, I used to observe crows a lot. They all come, and two crows are standing just in front of each other. One crow puts his beak like this and says, cow. Other crow puts it and cow. Both are not actually communicating. They don't understand what crow is telling other crow. The language of the crow is only meant for the humans. They can understand if you are trained for that. That is why it is said that when crow comes and then starts cow, 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 all of a sudden comes. One looks like this cow, looks like a cow and goes. That means our ancestors used to say that some guest is going to come. And that's definitely, you could understand. No. So this is why Ushanti it is considered as a pilgrimage of crows, because it's a hole filled with all kinds of chuta, leftover food. And it is very attractive for those people who are very lucky. So that is why anything is actually pilgrimage of crows, other than Bhagavatam.
Yeah, like I meant how to keep in touch with the happenings of the world without really getting too much into the materialistic literature or news and things like that.
Oh, that's an interesting question. Of course, I see news 4 times a day at least. But I quote a verse and give a Bhagavatam commentary to that particular news which is happening. For example, you had fire in California, in Los Angeles. So I gave a class to a few boys who had come they just knew, and I just met them, and then I talked about the fires in California and connected to Sansara Dava, Davanala. Very first word, that is what we talk about. Every day in the morning, in the Mangalarti, what we talk about? Sansara Dava. It happened in Los Angeles. You may feel that it is not happening in Mumbai. Your foolishness, it's still happening, but that is in your heart. And that Davanala in your heart is nothing but lust. That is why Krishna compares lust to fire. Dushpure Narayana. So you be in touch with news, but not get drowned in that news. Because you are supposed to give the Bhagavatam perspective of this worldview, of economic worldview from the Bhagavatam point of view, the social worldview from the Bhagavatam point of view, the political worldview from the Bhagavatam point of view, and any other worldviews from the Bhagavatam point of view. It has to be given. Of course, for that you need to have some kind of guidance and expertise.
So it's very interesting that you are able to view the news through the lens of Shastra Chakshuhu. Okay. So Prabhu, in the very next shloka, after calling the material literatures as a place of pilgrimage for the crows, it's another beautiful shloka, the place of pilgrimage for swans. We'll get into that. Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abadhavatyapi namanyanantasya yashankitani yat shrunvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. So Prabhupada also quotes this particular shloka in the very introduction of Bhagavatam. So Prabhu, if you can please enlighten us on this particular verse.
Yeah, this verse I always consider to be one of the favorite verses in the Bhagavatam. The reason is not just because the verse itself, because this verse, you can see Narada Muni predicting his appearance of ISKCON, appearance of Srila Prabhupada, appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam in English. Tadvag visargo janataga viplava. So Narada tells Vyasa, you write one book in which there will be only Krishna Katha,
Mm-hmm.
that book will create a revolution in the sinful life of the people.
Mm.
Now, revolution means what? Where hundreds and thousands of people are being guided, or their revolution, they are the kranti in their what? Sinful life.
Mm.
Now, in the past 5,000 years, till the appearance of ISKCON, Prabhupada, how many sinful people read Bhagavatam?
Mm.
Hardly. Only pious people used to read Bhagavatam.
Mm.
Even though there are sinful people who read Bhagavatam, 1, 2, 3, maybe you can count on the fingers.
Yes.
Pious people only used to read. Now tell me, when was the time when sinful people started reading Bhagavatam?
When
Those
Prabhupada
who
went.
are...
Yeah.
And revolution means not 1 or 2 sinful people, thousands of people after reading Bhagavatam should have given up cow meat, should have given up intoxication. When did it happen?
Yeah, when Prabhupada went to the West.
Yeah. You may say, these are all just your interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give another proof. Second line. Yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi. Abhaddha means improperly composed. Srila Prabhupada said, English is not my mother tongue.
Mm.
So there may be grammatical mistakes. There may be mistakes in the point of view of literature.
Mm-hmm.
Literary and grammatical mistakes must be there. Now, how many commentaries were written with these mistakes before? Because those who wrote commentaries on Bhagavatam, they are very great scholars. You cannot find even a single mistake, grammatical or literary mistake. And of course, Bhagavatam is translated into English, so definitely Sanskrit is non-translatable in one sense.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be some deficiencies in the translation also, and in grammatical or literal sense. So this is the second proof.
Okay.
That Prabhupada's Bhagavatam is fitting into the second line. Narada is predicting that in future there will be commentary on the Bhagavatam which will be abhaddhavatyapi.
Okay.
Abhaddha. There will be abhaddha. Now you may say, oh, it's all just your speculation. Now I'll give third proof. Shranyanti gayanti grananti sadhava. Even though it has some discrepancies in not philosophically, but grammatically and literary sense. Who accepted this Bhagavatam? The major libraries around the world are intellectual people. They are accepting it, they're reading it. Never it has happened, the Bhagavatam worldwide was accepted by scholars and intellectuals. Only within India, there are some scholars who are reading Bhagavatam. Shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadhavaha. Those who are sadhava, they accept it. Now these are the 3 proofs that Narada is talking about Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
The prediction.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, Prabhu, how can this verse inspire those of us who want to preach, but many of us may be feeling, oh, I don't have the talent to preach, I'm not good with this, I don't have that resource, this resource. But here is a abhaddhavatyapi, even if there are shortcomings, because the text itself is so powerful that people will accept it. So how can this inspire all of us to just move forward with whatever we have?
Actually, the only person who can preach and who is preaching is Srila Prabhupada.
Mm-hmm.
We are actually leeching.
Leeching? Okay. Nice.
Leech, the thing is catch hold of your body and then sucks the blood. So we are leeching onto Prabhupada. And how do we leech onto him? By following his instructions. He just told, what did he say? Learn and teach. So we are doing our part as a service to Bhagavata. Prabhupada is Bhagavata. So by doing this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, both of Bhakta Bhagavata and Grantha Bhagavata. Grantha Bhagavata Seva is by reading it. Bhakta Bhagavata Seva is by explaining it to others. We get purified. And you may call it preaching, you may call it whatever maybe words you may use. But the primary thing what we are doing is by hearing and chanting Bhagavatam, by hearing, by studying Bhagavatam, and chanting means you're speaking Bhagavatam. Whether 100 people are there, 1,000 people are there, nobody is there. It is immaterial. What is happening? You are getting purified.
Right.
So whether preaching is happening or not, whether that is preaching or not, that is not your concern.
Okay.
My concern is whether I am hearing and chanting or not. As long as I am getting an opportunity to hear and chant, so you are perfect. So you are perfecting your life by hearing and chanting. Don't bother whether the hearing and chanting is proper or not. Hearing and chanting is absolute. That makes you perfect.
Very inspiring. Now the 17th shloka, yet another important shloka. Yaktva swadharmam charanambujam harer bhajan apakvo tapatet yat tato yadi yatra kvava bhadram abhudamushyakim ko varta apto bhajatam swadharmatah. So Prabhu, yet another very important shloka here. So even fall down in bhakti, it does not matter. But on the other hand, perfection in one's duties without Krishna consciousness is completely useless. So why does this verse imply that even a failed attempt in devotional service is better than a success in material endeavor?
Because by death everything goes. You may have earned 10 crore rupees in your bank and you put in bank balance. You die, what will happen to the 10 crores? Gone. So you don't even remember in the next life. So what is the use of karma? Better you do bhakti because of your apakwata, means immature, say, even if you fall down. You don't fall down. See, the word which has been used here is very careful. Pate tato yadi. Yadi means what? If at all. Actually, you don't.
Okay.
If at all. Follow. Then what is lost? It is not that even if you fall down, it is not a regular case. If at all you fall down, it's not going to happen. So, yatra kva abhadram abhutamushyakim. What is the use? There is only misfortune if you are just practicing karma. Because adhena vivarakshata. Samadasya shrama phalam hi adhena vivarakshata. That in karma, the result of hard work is only hard work, nothing else. In bhakti, even though it is improperly performed, still it gives some result, which is going to incompletely perform. Like Krishna in the Bhagavatam, he says that Vijinam Shrimatam Ge Yoga Bhushto Vidayate. And not only that, in the second chapter, Neha Vikramanashosti Paksivayana Vidyate. Sagamupesya Dharmasya Trayate Mahadoya. Will deliver from great danger. If you just practice little bit of devotional service. It is na iha avikramaha nasha hasti. It doesn't reduce, nor there is destruction. It carries forward to your next life.
So Prabhu, you quoted a couple of shlokas. There's one more in the 9th chapter, Name Bhakta Pranashyati, where Krishna is telling Arjuna, you go and declare everywhere that my devotees will never perish. And here also, Krishna is emphasizing about this fall down in bhakti. So how does this uphold or glorify the mercy of Krishna? Does that mean the mercy of Krishna trumps the laws of karma in the case of devotees?
So the fall down of the devotee, sometimes it happens. That is also by the will of Krishna. Like sometimes a mother is carrying the baby very nice, very happily. It so happens that out of great love, the father would take the baby from the mother's hand. And what he would do is throw the baby up in the air. The baby is crying. Why did he throw up? only to catch. Isn't it? It is not just through the baby, only to catch. So sometimes Krishna does that. That is what is described in the 19th verse. Navai jano jatu katanchana vrajen mukunda sevyan yavadanga samstrutim param mukundang gripagohanam punar vihatamicchenna sagraho jana. Where Krishna, where it is described that Navai jano jatu katanchana vrajen, sometimes the devotees fall down. But it is by the will of Krishna they fall down. And you may say, why Krishna made them fall down? Because they became very proud that I am a devotee. My bhakti is going on very nicely. I am chanting nicely. I am speaking Bhagavatam very nicely. I am releasing Bhagavatam wonderfully. And my senses are under control. I am a devotee. So the pride that I am a devotee, even Krishna wants to remove that pride. Then Krishna told, you are chanting, chant. Then next year, you are speaking Bhagavatam, now speak. You are control the senses, control. Then he falls down. Then what does he say? What did he experience? Oh, how nice was the time when I was to chant so nicely. Remembering the time when he was performing bhakti, the experience of the bliss of embracing Krishna, upagohanam punah. Even though he has fallen down in the material existence and his suffering is not the same, because he is experiencing the taste of remembering the bliss which he used to experience. Now, why Bal Krishna did it? Because when he is experiencing the suffering of the material existence, a devotee would tell Krishna, what he would say? Vihatamichen. Oh Lord, I want to practice bhakti. I want to chant. I have a desire to chant. So then he understands it is not me who chants. I can only have desire. It is Krishna who makes me chant. It is Krishna who makes me read Bhagavatam. It is Krishna who makes me speak Bhagavatam. It is Krishna who makes me preach Bhagavatam. It is not by my own endeavor it happened. Krishna made me. I can only desire. That is why he says, I'll only eager. I only desire for that eagerness. So it is Krishna, you make me again chant. So to bring that humility in the devotee, Krishna would sometime make that person.
So, Prabhu, how can this particular verse encourage us with the redefinition of success and failure? But actually, practically, there's nothing called failure in Krishna consciousness. So, how can this encourage us to get out of the comfort zone and take risks for the pleasure of Krishna and Guru?
Risk for the pleasure of Krishna and Guru. Actually, this whole world is full of risk only.
Yes.
The only place where there is security is at the feet of Krishna and Guru. Now, when you are very secure, then you are very much willing to take the risk.
Yeah,
when you take shelter of Krishna and Guru, then you are secure. So when you are secure, then you can take risk. Your life is insecure, then you cannot take risk. Like somebody wants to invest, say, 5 crore rupees, and he has only 5 crore rupees. When will we invest? Tell me. When his parents or his father or brother says, don't worry, your khana, peena, rehna, roti, kapda, makan, I am there to take care. Don't worry, you go. So it's secure. So then you can take the risk of playing with the 5 crore. He knows, even if I lose the entire 5 crores, no problem, because My secure. So secure risk is only taken when you feel the security. So every devotee takes all the risk happily, without even thinking it is a risk, because he is secure at the feet of Krishna. I was explaining, of course, it may not be directly related to Bhagavatam, but still it is Bhagavatam in one sense. One devotee yesterday, he was telling me, oh, it's a great risk you are taking. We don't have money. You will still require 6 crore rupees. Why are you taking this risk of signing a contract with this contractor that you're going to pay 2 crores in the next 1 year without you having anything in the bank? Then Prabhupada, I told Prabhupada, he wanted to start a worldwide movement with 40 rupees. Definitely in our account there is more than 40 rupees, I told. So then he told me, Prabhuji, if I were in your position, I would have never taken the risk. Then I told, that is the difference. You're not in my position, and neither I am in your position. You are a businessman. You're a businessman. You only are thinking of, you're taking shelter of money. You're taking shelter of Krishna. So when you take shelter of Krishna, Lakshmi comes running. And you are taking shelter of Lakshmi, and Lakshmi is Chanchala. So you know it very well. That is why you don't take the risk. You have 5 crores with you, and you're so afraid of even giving 1 lakh rupees. So devotees are those who actually take risk.
Yes.
Financial. Some devotees, they are distributing books in Siberia. There are some devotees who are opening temples in Azerbaijan, a Muslim country, China, and they are happy to take that risk.
Yeah.
Because they are taking shelter of Krishna.
Yeah. Brilliant. So, Prabhu, now we'll get into Narad Muni's past life. So, how right or wrong is it for a disciple to be curious to know about the life of their spiritual master, like even before they became the spiritual master, or also about their spiritual evolution? Is this kind of curiosity okay?
One should not inquire about the Purvashrama of a sannyasi. But we find in Madhvacharya's pastime, what all he did before taking sannyas is also described. And we also from Raghavendra Swami, Sri Prabhupada, before taking sannyas, all described. So there is a lot of difference between inquiry about the Purvashrama of a sannyasi and to identify him with that previous conditioning. Now Narada speaks to Vyasa about his own past life. Generally, it is not etiquette to speak about yourself. But his life was so inspiring that he transgressed the etiquette to show the power of bhakti. The last pravachan given by Sridhar Maharaj, Prabhupada's disciple, in June, before he left his body, he knew he had hepatitis B and liver has completely gone. He went to Vrindavan to leave his body. Just the day he was about to leave Vrindavan, everybody was called. He's giving a last session, pravachan of his life. We all went there. And 80% of his pravachan was only about his hippie life. And he started looking at me and said, do you know who is Prabhupada? I was like looking at him. Then he told me, if you want to know how great is Prabhupada, you should know who hippies are. I'll tell you who hippies are. So he's the last pravachan. What is he speaking? How he was such an abominable person. and how Srila Prabhupada, he has brought him to this elevated condition. And looked at me and told, it is because of him I am sitting here and able to speak to all of you. Expressing his humility and gratitude to the spiritual master. That what all favors he has done, in what kind of condition he was. So same thing, Narada is also expressing his gratitude to the Vedantists, and also while speaking, so he's talking about the power of bhakti.
Yes.
So there's a lot of difference between inquiring and trying to know who your guru was before, and after hearing, to identify, oh, he was also a drunkard. Then it offends. Oh, he was also like me, ordinary person. So that identification should not be there. This previous. That we should be careful about. In that way, it should be discussed.
So, Prabhu, Narad Muni, although it is not described here, is it right that he was a Gandharva and then he was cursed, and that is how then he became a son of a maidservant? Is that true, Prabhu? That he was cursed as a Gandharva?
Yes.
So
Narada is an internal associate also. And this Narada, Upabarahana, he was cursed. And then he became this boy, and then immediately he got a spiritual body. Rather, he entered the spiritual body of the eternal associate called Narada.
Interesting.
Like Drona and Dara, they entered the body of Nanda and Yashoda. They experienced the rasa. The same way, Sutapa and Krishna, they entered the body of Vasudeva and Devaki. They experienced the rasa of Vatsalya. Like that.
So, Prabhu, in the previous episodes, you have talked about Mahat Seva, Kripa, so how the mercy of the devotees and serving them and the association is so significant in one's spiritual progress. And that is really brought to light here, Narad Muni's life. He is just a 5-year-old boy, and that too, he's a son of a maidservant. His mother is a very simple woman. But however, because of this just 4 months of association from the Bhakti Vedantists and the way he served them and their mercy, just once he takes the leftover remnants of theirs with their permission. So what can this teach us about how there is no barrier, there are no qualifications to actually progress in bhakti?
Bhakti is spiritual and it is not dependent on the material situation.
Right.
That is very much proved in the statements of Narada, in his life story of Narada, and many of the devotees, Srila Prabhupada disciples. Everything is because of the causeless mercy of devotees.
So how can we proactively seek the kind of association, and also how can we proactively serve devotees in our day-to-day lives?
You proactively serve and devotees by speaking Bhagavatam. And whatever possible, according to your means, serving the devotees. That is how you serve the devotees. If you are rich, you serve the devotees by giving money. If you are a singer, you sing. If you are having some physical strength, do some physical activity according to your nature. Narada was just 4 years. What he was doing? He was assisting his mother. That's all. How much you are doing, that doesn't matter. What is the attitude with which you are doing? That attracts the mercy of devotees. The mercy of devotee is Tulya Darshana. It is clearly said, Narada says, it is not because I had good qualities, he gave mercy. It is because of their mercy, I got good qualities.
Okay. So I want to quote a couple of slokas here, very short but very powerful purport that Prabhupada is writing here. So this is the 9th verse from chapter 6, Canto 1. Ekada nirgatam geha duhantim nishigam pathi sarpo dashat padat prishtaha kripanam kala choditaha. Once upon a time, my poor mother, when going out one night to milk a cow, was bitten on the leg by a serpent influenced by supreme time. So, Prabhupada, just a four-line purport that Prabhupada is writing, but very powerful. So, such an unfortunate situation, the only person who Narad Muni had in his life was his mother, and she died because of this snake bite. But the very first line that Prabhupada is writing here, that is the way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. What a line to write. That is the way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. The poor boy was being looked after only by his affectionate mother, and yet the mother was taken from the world by the supreme will in order to put him completely at the mercy of the Lord. So I'll just chant the next sloka also, and then we'll contemplate a little bit on this. Tada तदा तद् अहमीशस्य भक्तानां श्रम अभीप्सतः अनुग्रहं मन्यमानः प्रातिष्ठं दिशमुत्तराम्. I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotees, and so thinking, I started for the north. In another powerful purport, but a very short one. Confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it. What a power-packed sloka, I mean, purport. I wish we had the time to go deeper into it. But how do we understand the nature of Krishna's mercy, Prabhu? From the material point of view, it is such a tragic event in a 5-year-old boy's life. But the way Prabhupada is writing is like Krishna's mercy is really standing out.
It all depends on what is your goal of life. If goal of life is Krishna, such incidences are favorable for you.
Mm-hmm.
If your goal of life is enjoyment, those incidents are not favorable. So if you are keeping the goal of life as Krishna and to serve Krishna,
mm-hmm.
every incident, whether favorable or unfavorable, they're all absolute.
Mm.
You can see Krishna's hand. If Krishna gives you a facility, it's Krishna's mercy that you are able to use it in Krishna's service. If Krishna is taking away all the facilities, then it is Krishna's mercy that is making you totally dependent on him.
Mm.
So, for a devotee, that is how the whole world is full of happiness.
Mm.
Every situation is an opportunity for him.
Mm. So is this why Prabhupada sometimes, I don't recollect exactly where, but in a particular place, 3 times he says there is no material world, no material world, no material world. But he is not negating. For a devotee, yeah. He's not seeing it as material world. He's seeing it as energy of Krishna. Yeah, beautiful. So Prabhu, how can we develop this kind of detachment? Like he did not even wait to finish the funeral rites of his mother. He just left.
Because he passed through these 14 stages of bhakti and attained prema. For somebody who has attained prema,
mm-hmm.
where is attachment? Because he's attached to Krishna. To the extent you're attached to Krishna, to that extent you're detached from this world.
Mm. And the detachment from the world comes only through attachment to Krishna?
Yes.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, some other time we'll take a deep dive into such amazing shlokas. So, and also as we go further into this 6th chapter, Narad Muni talks about the joy and ecstasy that he's feeling in chanting the names of Krishna. He says, just when I chant the name of Krishna, when I glorify Krishna's pastime, form, his qualities, he says he's feeling so ecstatic. So how can we also consciously develop this taste for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, hearing and glorifying the pastimes of the Lord?
Again, the same point. Shushrusha Shabdadhanasi Vasudeva Katarachi. Vasudeva Katarachi comes because of Shushrusha. Shushrusha has 3 meanings. Being humble, with humility, hear, and while hearing, serve. Shushrusha Shabdadhanasi Vasudeva Katarachi. That's all, simple.
Mm-hmm.
That is why we have to engage ourselves in serving Krishna.
Mm.
with all our physical strength and all the different kinds of strength we have. When you do service, then taste comes. Vijipajayate. So in this, when Narada also developed taste because of this one, because of his service. Tishtarepan anumodito vijayi. He got the taste. Vijiprajayate.
Okay. So he clearly instructs Vyasadeva that he has to compose Srimad Bhagavatam exclusively glorifying Krishna. So Prabhu, in closing these 3 chapters, is there what is the key takeaway for the audience from these 3 chapters of Narada Vyasa Samvada?
Read Bhagavatam and be happy.
As simple as that. Okay.
And if you're unhappy, you read. So that happiness is there. That is where your happiness is there.
Okay. Very nice, Prabhu. Crisp and to the point. So, Prabhu, we'll move to the Brahmastra section. So, we'll lighten the mood a little bit. Today's segment is going to be most recent. So, I'm going to ask certain latest things from your life. If it is too personal for you, you just tell me, we will skip that and we will move forward. What is the most recent book you read?
I daily read Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
And the recent book, I went to Yatra, so I read about the life of Raghavendra Swami.
Oh, right. Okay, very nice. Which was the most recent holy place you visited?
Mantralayam.
Okay.
Of course, after that I went to Pandharpur. Pandharpur was the most recent. Yeah.
So included Pandharpur also after that. Okay. Who is the most recent? Just hold on. Yeah, who is the most recent inspiring devotee you met? Somebody who inspired you.
Surdas Prabhu, because just I visited the Karga temple and he had practically spent his every second of his life in 25 years.
Wow.
25 years. He's just been meditating on delivering the entire new Mumbai. And he just is a magnificent person. A very hard worker. Very hard worker for Krishna, Prabhupada. A perfectionist. Very difficult to work with him. Very a perfectionist. You want everything nice for Krishna. Everything wonderful for Krishna. Very inspirational personality.
Yes. Very nice, Prabhu. Thanks for sharing that. Got some glimpses virtually, seeing it on YouTube. It was very nice. The inauguration of the temple. Beautiful. What's the most recent, heartwarming, deep interaction you had with a devotee?
I was in Jaunpur. There's one devotee who had brought 40 young boys to help in organizing the Katha and Nagar Sankirtan and all. It's very simple. But the kind of devotion what he had is not very professional in his this thing, in his talk, but still the kind of impact what he has on devotee. He is in the most testing circumstances. We travel an average of say 100 kilometers a day to preach Krishna consciousness in villages in Bengal and Bihar and Jharkhand.
Wow.
An average of 100 kilometers a day.
Wow. Okay. So Kumar Leela Prabhu, if you're watching this, you're inspiring all of us. Keep going. Very nice. So next one, Prabhu, what's the most recent realization you had about spiritual life?
Yeah, today's realization is that if you don't read Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, then you will be in trouble.
Okay. What's the most recent improvement you have made in your spiritual life?
There's somebody else to judge.
Like, have you consciously made any changes in a positive way to improve yourself?
That's a very difficult question to answer because I don't have time to think of this. Just go with the flow.
Okay. 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 What's the most recent humorous moment you had with devotees that made you laugh out loud?
Every time I laugh on this question is always like the most recent incident that made me laugh. Prabhupada said, what else you can do other than laugh at this point?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. What's the most recent incident or person that made you angry?
It's very rare I don't get angry.
Okay. Good. That's very nice. Okay. Who's the most recent person who shocked you, but in a nice way, with their knowledge of Shastra? Like you are pleasantly surprised, oh, this person knows so much about the scriptures.
Yesterday, Vaishya Maharaj had come,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm here. I heard his class after maybe many years. He used to give classes in Vrindavan. After that, I never had an opportunity to hear from him.
Okay.
Yesterday, I'd come to Vapi and he gave a wonderful class.
Oh.
It was a Nitya Seva festival. She called all those who can do 500,000 rupees like that monthly.
Mm-hmm.
Other devotees were also there.
Mm-hmm.
And one devotee is organizing that thing. He called me, Maharaj is coming, what topic we should give? I told Nitya Seva. So I told him to give the topic in the 11th chapter of the 10th canto, where pastors of Krishna are there. And especially 2 verses, he talks about fruit seller, Krishna.
Oh.
And later I thought I gave a wrong topic, I suppose. There's only 2 verses. How will he speak for 1 hour? Nijaya spoke for 1 hour, so expanding the entire 2 verses, so beautiful. And not that talking here and there when he got around. Like, only the past expanded. I don't know where he got that elaborate description of the 2 verses. So it's very amazing.
Okay. I'll see if it was streamed on YouTube. I'll catch up with that. What's the latest non-verbal lesson you learned from a senior Vaishnava? They didn't particularly tell you anything. You just saw them and you thought this is something that I can learn from.
Not very senior. Somebody who was junior to me.
Okay.
Who was in trouble because of being adamant. Then I thought, like, I should not be adamant and dig my own ditch.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. You were so open. Some of the questions were very personal, but still you were very generous with it. So as always, thank you for all the insightful discussion, Prabhu. Very wonderful. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, there you go. We got a glimpse into chapters 4, 5, and 6. Kindly go through the chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam, the amazing ecstatic purports that Srila Prabhupada has written. I'm sure that you are really going to contemplate and reflect and grow through them. So we will catch you in the next episode where we are going to continue this conversation and we will be discussing from chapter 7. So we'll catch you very soon. Until then, as always, stay inquisitive and stay Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.